Absent, low student turnout at San Diego High after yesterday's violent flare-up. Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on air and online at onespotmedia.com. I'm Archibald Gordon.
And I'm Doreen Samuels. Also this evening, new and different, the PSOJ defends push to craft overarching crime plan.
On the hunt, police and soldiers search St. Elizabeth for gunmen fleeing St. James' state of emergency.
The A's have it. Senate passes new building bill.
And in the financial week is coming. Finance Minister announces new deadline for FinSAC report.
There's also a bite of the week, sports commentary and weather in this newscast. But before the break, the feedback question.
This evening we're asking, do you think enough effort is being made to protect the country's fish resources?
Share comments online, facebook.com/television Jamaica, and tweet us at Television Jam.
Stay with us. Primetime News returns right after the break. Welcome back to Primetime News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com.
A reminder as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the word Spot and Media.
Up first this evening, a day after fleeing gunmen made their way onto the compound of San Diego High School in St. Catherine. More than 80% of the institution's students stayed home today. Just over 300 of the 1,700 students on register attended school.
The incident has caused the institution to renew its call for the Ministry of Education to assist in building a higher perimeter fence to secure the premises. TVJ's Anthony Lugg visited the school this morning.
Calm after the storm. A day after St. Diego High School was forced to activate its emergency plan following a gun battle in the vicinity of the institution. Students and staff gather singing songs of praise and worship.
Nothing will stop us from achieving.
But even as the principal and other members of staff tried to lift the spirit of those students in attendance, the empty space in the auditorium spoke volume.
Our numbers definitely declined, and I think that was as a result of the rain too this morning. So of 1,700 plus students, there are only 330 here this morning.
And while there was a low turnout on Friday, the students hurried to their classes following the devotional exercise. It's not the first incident of this nature in the vicinity of the institution. Former principal Sandra Swire-Watson says the community usually offers support to the school. But when asked if the action of hoodlums counter the efforts of other community members, she gave this response.
No, it doesn't counter it because you see, unfortunately, because of the lack of proper security fencing, we have a perimeter fence just to demarcate the premises. They would use it as a shortcut to get around the community. Quite frankly, I'm not sure that those were members of the community. Even the incident we had a few years ago when there was a big shootout outside, they were not members of the community, but they do know that the school, they can get over the school to get out there.
Now, according to the staff here at the St. Diego High School, the wall behind me is just one of the routes used by gunmen to elude the security forces. That's why they're renewing the call for the authorities to urgently assist in building a higher perimeter fence.
It has been urgent for a very long time now. The last time it came up was in the National Education Inspectorate visit to St. Diego High School in 2014.
Nothing happens here on a regular basis. So they never see St. Diego as a school with a security problem. But we don't want to wait until something happens. So we have a very low wall. A desk or a chair can send you over the wall from either side. So we would really appeal to the authorities, the Ministry of Education, whomever, to help us.
Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
In the meantime, the private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, is this evening insisting that its initiative to craft an overall plan to deal with the country's crime problem is different from previous attempts. The PSOJ held a press conference at its Hope Road St. Andrew offices on Friday. TVJ's Vashon Brown has more.
Private sector officials say they've been watching the murder figures over the past few months, and they're now insisting enough is enough.
It cannot be business as usual. As a society, we are sick and tired of what is happening. We are sick and tired of waking up every morning to hear about the 2 and the 3 and the 5 deaths. It must stop.
Earlier this week, the private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, said it will be taking a bigger role in helping to craft a crime plan by organizing a summit on public order and crime set for February 15 and 16. Today, PSOJ President Howard Mitchell pointed out that this will be different from previous attempts at crafting a plan.
The difference between what we propose, and in fact the difference between many of the other attempts at establishing an overarching policy, is that we want to take it further. Right? We want to hold people accountable. We want to set key performance indicators, as Mr. Watson said, and to report back to the public on the execution of these key performance indicators.
He said part of the problem is that some of the solutions to the country's crime problem have not been positioned to cross election cycles. In fact, he noted that in 1993, then Prime Minister P.J. Patterson had established a task force on crime.
The difficulty was that there was not a consensus that it was the methodology to go forward throughout elections. Right? That is what we want to achieve with this summit. Not that we have, because operating plans change. So we're not working on operating plans. Okay? There are people to do that. What we want is a plan, a national plan as to how we manage the discipline in our society, how we manage the interaction between agencies in our society.
Chair of the PSOJ Standing Committee on National Security and Justice, George Overton, argued that his committee realized that there is an absence of a high-level strategy to deal with escalating murders.
What has happened over many, many years is that we have come with different tactical initiatives, but we have not had a focused target that everyone in the country can galvanize themselves around. We hope at the end of this that we will have a plan that will take us beyond the next election.
Vashan Brown, TVJ News.
Members of the security forces are now conducting a major search operation in sections of northwest St. Elizabeth following reports that gunmen fleeing the state of emergency in St. James have been fleeing to that parish. Members of
say it is not safe because strange people coming in and going out, and they look suspicious.
Children them go to school, they are scared and they're on the road, they are worried and so forth. We have to take them home, it to and from, and we don't want that.
Because I heard it was some school children who saw some men this man with gun or something.
Right. And two other persons see them.
Then come to shop and ask the person to buy something.
Right, and then refrain from selling them. And them see a man come and then walk out in the police.
Residents say they're more afraid at nights because of the absence of street lights in some areas and overgrown bushes. But they say the presence of soldiers is helping them feel safer. Head of the St. Elizabeth Police, Superintendent Catherine Lord, declined to comment on Friday's operations, but the Police High Command had placed neighboring parishes such as Westmoreland, Hanover, Trelawney and St. Elizabeth on high alert following the declaration of the state of emergency in St. James. Residents in these parishes have been urged to call the police if they see strange individuals in their communities.
And the Legal Aid Council is reporting that 10 minors were being held at the Baronet Street Police Station in Montego Bay as at Thursday, 7 of whom were taken into custody prior to the state of emergency. Those children detained under the emergency powers have been released. Of the children remaining in custody, 3 were without legal representation and have been assigned to experienced Montego Bay attorney Mrs. Betty Ann Smith-Waite. One has been charged with illegal possession of a firearm and another with attempted housebreaking. The third child is deemed uncontrollable and, though not charged with a criminal offence, will be provided with representation by the attorney.
Meanwhile, the Legal Aid Council has written to the Police High Command on behalf of 36 detainees seeking medical attention for 4 and status reports on all of the 36 detainees. The Council, in collaboration with the Cornwall Bar Association, is providing legal representation for persons detained under the state of emergency in St. James. 19 counsels, including 16 lawyers, are available to provide representation for the detainees. Residents of St. James who have been detained can contact the Montego Bay Legal Aid Clinic or call the Cornwall Bar Association.
TVJ News has just been informed that as of February 1, the police will be instituting a ban on all coloured and non-transparent bags at police lockups across the island. The ban is about preventing contraband from entering the lockup. In a circular sent to all police divisions dated Wednesday, heads of divisions were asked to institute the ban and told the public should be made aware of it.
And an item of breaking news now. Police Commissioner George Coelho is to demit office within the next few days. TVJ News sources confirm Commissioner Coelho's pending departure a short while ago. Opposition spokesman on national security also told TVJ News that he spoke with the commissioner, who confirmed his resignation. Deputy Commissioner Clifford Blake is tipped to act as commissioner until a replacement is found. Coelho was scheduled to demit office in August following his appointment in April 2017. Again, Police Commissioner George Coelho is to demit office within the next few days. That story just being confirmed by the TVJ News Center. Doreen?
A top story today, absent low student turnout at San Diego High after yesterday's violent flare-up. And still ahead this evening, Senate passes new building bill. And in business news, Finance Minister announces new deadline for FinSAC report. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Continuing the news, there's a cloud of fear hanging over Augustown in St. Andrew. Residents say that's because of recent murders in the area.
The police, political representative and very few residents met on Friday to work out how to stop the murders in Augustown. The area has been tense lately, forcing people to stay off the streets because of the threats of retaliation. It's not the first time Augustown is experiencing this level of violence, but the people in the community say this time is different because of the players who are involved and the money they are willing to spend to create mayhem.
It's embarrassing to say that Augustown is very tense right now. It's frightening. It's frightening, and especially where we're coming from, 2016 zero murder, make it even more embarrassing.
There are reports that university students, many of whom live in the area, are moving out because of fear.
Based on the level of gunfire at nights and the murders in the latter part of 2017, when we had the first one recently this year, I suspect that students are moving out of the community.
Do you know for a fact if they are moving out?
Well, we are not seeing that vast amount of students that we normally see walking, going to shops and all that now. So there might be some evidence to sort of say yes, that's a fact.
The Member of Parliament, Favour Williams, says in spite of that, the community continues to look out for the students.
I can tell you that the communities do provide whatever support they can. They look out for the students. They know the students go out early, they come in late, there's transportation that's provided. So the communities, they know the benefit of students living there.
The police say one of their main challenge is the terrain in the area. They also say they're receiving threats from gunmen in the area.
We have been getting information about threats of men will fire on the police, so we have to ensure that we protect ourselves. And also that men are seeming to arm themselves in order to get a better advantage point when the police should enter the communities to carry out our functions.
The church says it's been doing its part by taking the message of hope to the people in the streets.
We start, but I think our problem is the continuation. And it so happened that when there is an ease in the violence, we tend to be at ease as well.
Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
Finance Minister Audley Shaw has rejected assertions that he acted irresponsibly in the granting of 2 moratoria to facilitate the clearing of used cars for the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The issue has been the subject of repeated sittings of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC. TVJ's O'Shane Masters has the details.
O'Brien's Car Sales and Rental International was given a contract to supply 200 pre-owned vehicles for the police. However, the matter turned sour after O'Brien's International failed to deliver all the vehicles and requested duty waivers in order to clear those which were in the country. The opposition has also been critical of the handling of the matter by the Ministries of National Security and Finance, with it being discussed at length during Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC. Addressing the annual general meeting of the Used Car Dealers Association on Thursday night, Finance Minister Audley Shaw accused the opposition of mischief making. He highlighted to the gathering how his ministry came into the debacle.
Now, the contract that was awarded to the company for the supply of close to 100 vehicles. When the issue first came to me, for 30 vehicles to be cleared, it was mine as the minister. And bear in mind, there are only two ministers in the country who are recognized by the Constitution, the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance. Issues come to the Minister of Finance, the technocrats in the ministry can recommend, ultimately one person makes a decision, the minister. And what did I face? I faced the need for the clearance of vehicles because what we're having problems on the road. Crime.
He then set about outlining the decisions he made in relation to the issue.
So when it was brought to my attention, and it was not clear to me at that point that the issue of who pays what in terms of taxes, I decided to issue a first moratorium for 30 vehicles, which were cleared, because the Ministry of National Security countersigned on that clearance. And it was not a waiver. It was a moratorium. That means the money must be paid, but a little later, a few months down the line. The second request for a moratorium came on the basis that the ministry accepted and countersigned on the first one. I authorized the second one. Yes, opposition. I, Audley Shaw, authorized the second one, because I wanted 68 more vehicles on the road to fight crime.
Mr. Shaw says the decisions were also made keeping in mind that there is a $42 million performance bond and another $213 million bond pledged to the Ministry of National Security if there is non-performance. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
In the meantime, the Ministry of National Security says it's received payment of the performance bond from the insurer on behalf of O'Brien's International Car Sales and Rental. The performance bond is in the amount of $42.7 million, which represents 10% of the contracted amount. The performance bond was called in after it was determined that the contractor had failed to meet its obligation in the time frame that was given. The company has so far supplied 34 vehicles and is in the process of clearing another 66, after which the contract will be terminated in part.
Meanwhile, the Finance Minister has hailed as a positive move the announcement of the pre-inspection of all Japanese used vehicles being imported into Jamaica. The announcement was made by Industry and Commerce Minister Carl Samuda on Tuesday in Parliament. Mr. Shaw says all participants will be able to benefit from the move.
The pre-inspection program will be done under highly transparent conditions with a report that will be issued both to the importer, to the trade board, and ultimately that report will be available to the consumer. So you know precisely what you're buying.
He noted that customers will have access to all the necessary information and will not be led into buying faulty motor vehicles.
This will lead to more confidence in the market. It will lead to more confidence among your customers. Some might think it's irritating, but I think more and more we need to get used to the idea that if we want to build a civilized society, we must be prepared to be transparent, open, and truthful.
The Industry and Commerce Minister said a Japanese company has been contracted to do the inspection on behalf of the Jamaican government.
Meanwhile, Mr. Samuda also reiterated that the measure has become necessary to protect consumers amidst increasing reports of the odometers of used vehicles being tampered with to mask high mileage as well as other irregularities.
Jamaica is now closer to having new building laws. The Senate this afternoon passed the building bill. There were 30 amendments. More from TVJ's Jeline Pearson.
The building bill will, among other things, establish a modern legislative framework that will serve to reduce the vulnerability of Jamaica's built environment and ensure public safety. It also serves to repeal the Kingston and St. Andrew and Parish Council Building Acts, as well as create standards for the construction and maintenance of physical structure. The legislation was passed with 24 amendments in the House of Representatives last year. The bill provides for the establishment of the National Building Code and identifies the Bureau of Standards Jamaica as the agency that will set the acceptable local and international standards for construction. In addition, the legislation establishes that municipal corporations are to be the local building authorities and will be responsible for inspecting, certifying, and taking the actions necessary to approve new structures, change existing buildings, or destroy dangerous structures. It also streamlines the permit application system. This will eliminate unnecessary referrals and expedite responses, facilitate the introduction of special express services, and ensure the rights of persons with disabilities regarding accessibility, safety, and user-friendliness.
A timely intervention is how efforts to restore the fish stock in White River St. Anne are being viewed. The area now has a fish sanctuary where it is hoped there will be a 500% increase in the fish population in the next 5 years. TVJ's Janella Precious reports.
According to data worldwide, over 70% of all fish species has been exploited or depleted. This not only affects people but our coral reefs as well. In Jamaica, fishermen are finding it increasingly difficult to make a living. Many now have to go further out at sea to get a decent catch. In White River St. Anne, the country's 18th fish sanctuary was launched. This saw the coming together of fishermen and representatives from the area's marine association.
I grew up right here, right up the White River. This is very personal for me. You know, I went out here swimming. The corals were great. There were conchs. You could see fish swimming around. But now what do we have? When you go out there, I mean, there's, you know, the corals are covered in algae. If you see a conch, you're lucky. And the fish, they come in two sizes, small and extra small. That's it.
And there are already positive results.
You could catch like a pound-sized snapper every day. Now, even when you go deep, it's hard to catch it. And, you know, seeing the fish sanctuary, we start patrolling 3 months now, and there's difference. Yesterday we fixed it up here, and we have tuna jumping in the harbor. So you can see the different transition coming so far.
Overfishing has been identified as a major reason for the depleting fish stock, but over the years, scientists have discovered other contributing factors.
We have problems with improper coastal development or mismanaged coastal development. We have problems with waste management. Oh man, those plastic bottles, geez, and plastic bags, if we could only do something about them. You know, why would you have invented something that lasts 450 years in the sea?
To ensure that this fish sanctuary achieves its objective of a 500% increase in the fish population in 5 years, security measures have been put in place.
It is illegal and punishable by law to engage in any unauthorized fishing activities within a fish sanctuary.
Janella Precious, TVJ News.
And before the break, it's now time for our feedback responses, and Archie is at the smart board.
Thanks, Lorraine. Here's our question today. We're asking, do you think enough effort is being made to protect the country's fish resources? O'Shane Hart saying, no, there's an obvious negligence toward this resource, mainly because of tourism and infrastructure being prioritized. If the government does not wise up, this resource will gradually decline over coming years. Jacqueline says, fish? What kind of fish? Right now, everything takes a back seat to this crime monster. unless the fish has something to do with it. Nugent saying that's definitely no, when most times we encourage overfishing, snorkeling, scuba diving, etc. All of these practices are destructive and enough effort is not being made to combat this. Instead we waste the little money the country has on debushing and overpriced mediocre road fixtures. And Omar Dennis says right now we need more protection than the fish. Keep your comments coming on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/televisionjamaica, and the tweets to @televisionjam. The Financial Week, news from overseas, and a bite of the week. They're all next. Please stay tuned.